Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dork Side. It is I, your friendly neighborhood dork on the road, and today I'm coming to you through the magic of voiceover because I'm an idiot and forgot to plug in my mic cable when I went out and filmed this great video. Today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is 5 great tips for playing Pokemon Go on a motorcycle. So let's get started. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, before we leap into our specific tips, one general overwhelming disclaimer. Please, please, please do not attempt to play Pokemon Go while actually riding your motorcycle. All of the tips that I'm going to give you today are for riding slowly around the neighborhood and theoretically pulling over to do things like catch Pokemon, spend Pokestops, and all of that. You shouldn't be looking away from the road while you're riding. Okay, remember Walter Riffick's accident? All he did was look down and change his phone, crashed into a curb, broke his collarbone, and was off his bike for 6 weeks. So, please, let me say one more time, do not try to play the game while your bike is actually moving. Okay, tip number 1, have the right gear. Pokemon Go on a motorcycle can be very successful. It can remove a lot of the obstacles that are in your way and make it a lot easier to play the game, but you got to have the right gear. So first and foremost, what you're going to want is some kind of device or some kind of mount that allows you to mount your phone to your motorcycle. So I have the RAM mount. It's a very popular mount. There's many other options out there, but the RAM is one of the most secure and one of the best ones. So I would recommend that mount. Okay. Here it is, yeah. You're also going to need some way to charge your phone because, as you know, Pokemon Go will destroy your battery. So I have a cheap trackside USB charger that I got from Cycle Gear for like $12. You could also put a battery pack in a tank bag. I'll maybe link one below, the one that I use that I really enjoy. I get lots of charges out of it. But some way to get juice into your phone while you're out playing is also very, very important because Pokemon Go will drain it very quickly. Another very important thing to have if you're going to try to play Pokemon Go on a motorcycle is a motorcycle. I recommend a dual sport if you have one. Now, please don't take that to mean I'm recommending that you go out and buy a new motorcycle just for Pokemon Go. But if you have a dual sport, the option to ride a dual sport, I would recommend it because it gives you the option to go into places where maybe pedestrian access or up and down curbs or in and out of grassy areas like this as necessary. You know that you have a bike that's capable and has the ground clearance and traction you need to do some off-road or maybe some unauthorized areas. Another thing you're going to want is a good pair of gloves. Gloves that have the touch pads on the fingers so that you can actually operate your phone and play the game. If you don't have gloves that have that, you can take one glove off while you're riding around slowly and playing. That's what I do, but I would recommend staying at GAT all the time and keeping it on there as much as possible if you have gloves that will work that way. Finally, gear-wise, one more thing you're going to want is some way to hydrate yourself. So you're either going to want a hydration pack or to carry bottles of water with you, but if you're going to be out in the heat playing the game for long periods of time, you're going to want a way to drink water and stay hydrated so you don't get heat stroke and end up having a bad time, as they say. All right, tip 1 was gear, so make sure you have the right gear. It's going to be a lot easier if you do. Second tip is do some recon before you go out. And there's lots of ways to get information about Pokemon Go before you leave the house. Many of you may know already, some of you probably don't, that Pokemon Go is actually Niantic's second game. Their first game was actually called Ingress. And Ingress is a really cool game that uses portals in the real world, just like Pokemon Go uses Pokestops. But the portals in Ingress were the basis for the Pokestops and gyms in Pokemon Go. So if you check out this website, ingress.com/intel, you have to make an account, but you just need a Google account. You can check out all the portals that are nearby your area or in the area where you're headed to go out and go Pokemon hunting. And for the most part, those portals correspond with Pokestops and gyms in the real world in Pokemon Go. So take a look at the Ingress Intel site, find some portals that are in an area you're going to head out to, and hopefully you discover some new Pokestops and gyms from that information. Another resource worth checking out is Facebook. My local area has a local area name of town Facebook group for Pokemon Go, and so you can check that out. A lot of times people will say when there's rare spawns going on or people have dropped lures, so it's a good way to stay apprised of what's going on out there. There's even team-specific ones if you look hard enough. Like there's a Team Valor for my city that I'm a member of, and so that's one cool way to get a heads up about what's going on out there before you head out. And another way to get information before you head out, and this one is less morally in the clear, so to speak, is websites like pokehunter.com that will actually survey your area and tell you what spawns are popping up and stuff. Those are technically against the terms of use, but as long as you're not connecting your account to anything, I don't feel like it's actually cheating, especially when you're going to head out. It's nice to know that you're actually going to be able to find something nice. So that's an option that's available to you. I'll put a link below. All right, now that we've talked about gear and recon, we're going to talk a little bit about how to actually use your motorcycle to hatch eggs in Pokemon Go. So, how good you are at this technique depends on how high your tolerance for looking like a tool riding solo around the neighborhood is, but this is one way to hatch eggs and get candy from your buddy Pokemon. So if you open up the game on your bike, and hopefully it's plugged in and everything, and once again, don't forget not to play the game while you're riding. Always pull over before you interact with your phone. Experts on the game have concluded through much research, of which I was not a part, that the optimal speed for hatching eggs and getting Pokemon candies is 6.5 miles an hour, about 10 kilometers an hour. So you can go faster than that, but it won't register all of your distance. So really you want to keep it between 6 and 10 miles an hour. So you've got to drive slowly around the neighborhood. If you do that while the game is open, you'll be both hatching eggs and gaining distance for your Pokemon buddy to find candies, which is one way to do that without actually having to go through all the hassle of exercising. So that's tip number 3, egg hatching. But along those same lines, tip number 4 is finding and catching Pokemon while you're riding around. So you can cover a lot more distance than you could by walking and go for a lot longer than you could if you were, like I said, actually exercising. So if you open the game like this on your phone and do one of two things, either turn your volume all the way up on your phone or connect it to your Senna so you can listen for spawns in the speakers in your helmet. And then you can just drive around the neighborhood slowly, again, between 6 and 10 miles an hour, and listen for those spawns. Now, don't watch the screen, watch the road in front of you. But when you hear spawns, you can then pull over and check out what spawned, and if necessary, toss a couple Pokeballs. So here I'm cruising around the neighborhood slowly, 9 miles an hour, as you can see. Hear a Pokemon spawn, pull over to check out what it is, zoom in. It's a bunch of garbage Pokemon, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and catch this Pidgey. So you click on that bad boy, as always, toss some Pokeballs at it while seated on your motorcycle. I like to pull up to the curb and put my foot on the curb. It's even easier to stand up, especially on this taller bike. But toss the balls, catch the Pokemon, and voila, you have acquired a new Pokemon that you didn't have before you started riding around. You can check to make sure that it's clear and pull back into traffic and continue cruising around slowly enough to hear the spawns and to still accumulate distance towards hatching eggs and buddy candies. So like I say, just cruise around the neighborhood slowly, try to ignore the weird looks you get from everyone around, and listen for spawns, catch Pokemon, pull over and catch them, and you'll be accumulating mileage all along, so you're killing a couple birds with one stone. And my 5th and final tip is Pokemon Go is fun, but it's even more fun when you play with other people. So if you have other friends that ride, help them get set up to do this with you. You guys can go out and take down gyms, do raids, just go out Pokemon hunting together, and it's a real blast. So it's a social game. It's meant to be played with other people, and I highly recommend playing it that way. All right, those are my 5 tips for playing Pokemon Go on a motorcycle. Make sure you get the right gear. Don't forget to do your recon. Try egg hatching and Pokemon finding while riding. And find friends to play with, team up. Once again, let me repeat, don't play the game while you're riding your bike. Always pull over to do it. But if you follow these simple tips, you're going to have a great time, catch a lot of Pokemon, and level up quickly. So get out there, try to catch them all. Thank you all for watching. I super appreciate it. And once again, as always, don't forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!